And we're back again, and my new guest is Mr. Dan Wilkinson, who is the Assistant Vice President of the PNC. What does PNC mean? Do we know?
PNC is, it actually doesn't stand for anything anymore except integrity. So PNC is a conglomeration of a few different banks. It dates back to about, geez, I think 1860. So we've been around for quite some time. It was Pittsburgh National Bank, and then Pittsburgh National Bank acquired Philadelphia National Corporation. And it's very interesting. PNC only acquired other banks that had PNC as their acronym. So we've just kind of kept PNC. I guess we always like those initials.
Well, coming from Philadelphia, I know PNC is big in Philadelphia. But let's talk about your job here.
Sure.
Now, how many branches do we have here at Green Spring and PNC Bank?
Sure, we have two branches here at Green Spring. We have one in Hunter's Crossing, and we have another in Town Center. Both
of them have ATMs?
Both of them do have ATMs, yes.
And they are obviously available 24/7, whatever.
Yes, yes. I would strongly encourage all of our residents to get to know some of the folks that work at the PNCs in both Hunter's Crossing as well as Town Center. We have some lovely folks that are always happy to help.
So what you're saying is I can walk over to your bank and say, hey, I'm Bob Zarkowitz. Can I sit down with, if you're not busy, can I sit down and have a little chat with you about whatever you offer to the resident?
Yeah, absolutely.
Open house?
They would say the Bob Zarkowitz. No, we are very welcoming. We would love to have a conversation with all the residents here at Green Spring about what we can do to better serve the relationships going forward.
Well, speaking of serving, what does PNC offer the resident here besides just the regular bank account?
Sure. Just outside of regular bank accounts, your checking, your money markets, your savings, your CDs, we do offer a range of services. I specifically am a client advisor in our wealth management division, which is essentially the trust division of PNC Bank. So I'm here quite regularly meeting with residents of Green Spring, overlooking some of their financial statements, some of their investment portfolios, looking to see what we can do to maybe mitigate some risks. Certainly interest rates are on the rise. I believe Janet Yellen announced soon that there is speculation that interest rates may go up slightly. So although very good for our customers that are in more liquid assets, CDs for instance, that does have negative effects on bond portfolios. So those are things that I like to speak with our residents about and really look to maximize opportunity while mitigating risks.
Speaking of services, if I'm going to sell my car, can I go over to PNC and say, would you give me a blue book value of my car so that I know how much to sell it for?
I'm sure that they would be happy to go on kellybluebook.com and look up the price with you. Yeah, absolutely.
I know many years ago we could do that, but I didn't know what today's atmosphere would be in reference to going to the teller or to whoever in the office and ask that question.
Yeah, all of our folks are very happy to help in whatever way possible. I think that's an easy request that they would love to assist with.
Is there or are there any plans for an additional branch of your bank here in Neighborhood 2?
I wish that there was. This is Village Square is one of my favorite parts of Green Spring Village. I love the woodland view that you have here in the dining room, but not that I know of, not to my knowledge. I would love that though.
Well, in all honesty, if there was a plan, I don't know where they would put this bank.
Yeah, I'm a pretty avid pool player, so I hope that they wouldn't use that room.
No, they're not going to use that room. So what else should I know about PNC? We know that you have bank accounts, CDs, money markets. Would you handle my portfolio if I asked you to?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, you bring up a very good point in that, you know, some of the services that we offer and the team behind me offers are free portfolio reviews, as well as looking over estate documents, trust documents, for instance, be it that we are the trust division of PNC, and just want to make sure that really holistically you're in great shape. Again, I mentioned the bonds, for instance, as interest rates start to rise. So looking at and not to get too technical, but looking at higher durations within bond portfolios, as interest rates rise, sometimes those bonds tend to drop in price. So we want to make sure that you're well positioned going forward for your future, and really look to examine the goals and objectives that you have in mind. And that does flow through to estate planning documents.
So let's talk about you for a moment.
Sure.
When you went to college, where did you go to college?
I grew up in North Carolina. I went to UNC Wilmington. So
and you pursued what, finance or?
You know, I didn't pursue finance. I was marketing, media, advertising, but I always had a knack for numbers. I actually got my start here at PNC in their mortgage division, where I would help underwrite loans, make sure that best rates were promised to our clients, and make sure that the process went very smoothly. Through the course of doing that for about 2.5 years, I got a very good sense of analyzing financial statements and really looking to maximize not only on one side of the balance sheet, but on the other side of the balance sheet, helping our clients grow their assets while protecting them.
That sounds great. Your background is marvelous in reference to finances.
Well, thank you so much, Bob.
What other things can we chat about in the reference PNC?
Sure. You know, one thing I'd like to mention, and I think it probably has gotten a fair amount of attention, maybe some of the residents have heard about it recently. The Department of Labor has issued, or last year they issued a ruling regarding fiduciaries. Now, a fiduciary, for those of you who don't know, are basically those who are legally bound to act in your best interests at all times. My division within PNC, our wealth management division, again being the trust division of the bank, we're obligated to always act as fiduciaries. So every representative that you meet from our wealth management division does have a legal obligation to make sure that we're putting your interests before the interests of the bank.
Is a fiduciary the same as an executor or an executrix of a will?
So an executor or an executrix would need to act as a fiduciary.
Okay.
Yes, you're absolutely right, as do trustees for that matter.
So a resident could come in and chat with you about that specific subject.
Absolutely, and I would strongly encourage them to do that. Many of the competitors that we run into or our clients have portfolios with, they operate on a slightly different standard. Not to say that there's anything wrong going on with some of those competitors, but they do operate on what's known as a suitability standard. And I'd like to take a minute and just talk about that for one quick second. So the suitability standard, it means that although an investment might be suitable for a client based on the goals and needs that they may have, it might not always be the best option. We are actively seeking the best option for the client. So well-performing, efficient, tax efficient, things like that.
Oh, I'm sure the residents love to hear those words. Act in the best interest of the client.
That's exactly right.
That's the name of the game. So, as far as I see it, PNC is ready, willing, and able to help the Green Spring resident in his or her banking objectives.
We absolutely are. I couldn't have said it better. Again, we have wonderful folks that work here at both Town Center as well as Hunters Crossing that would love to have conversations with you, make sure that you're in the best products if you are customers. And if you are customers, thank you very much for being customers of PNC. And I would just welcome everybody to stop in, chat with some of the folks that we work with here.
Well said. Just very quickly, what are your operating hours here at Green Spring?
So I think they're changing, but the operating hours are from 9 a.m. and I believe they go to 4 p.m. now. That might be changing to 5 p.m. and I believe that we're going to begin opening on Saturdays if we have not already.
Well, that's great.
Right. Yeah. So we really try to make banking as easy and convenient as possible. It's really our goal.
Daniel, we're just about out of time, but I want to thank you tremendously for being here, because what you have passed on in these past 13 minutes has been great. So I thank you very much for coming on board.
Pleasure has truly been all mine, Bob. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody.
And now I have some announcements that I'd like to pass on.